I've been in recruitment for 15 years. I'm about to tell you a secret most recruiters do not want you to know. If you're working with an agency recruiter, a third-party recruiter, or a headhunter, all the same thing, you are not the only candidate. We are all taught to have 3 candidates for every single job we are working on. So as a candidate, how do you know where you stand? Are you the first place candidate, or are you the third place backup candidate? In today's video, I'm going to give you 3 different ways so that you can understand how the recruiter feels about you as a candidate. Let's go. Now look, wanting to know where you stand in terms of the candidate hierarchy is a very normal thing to want to know. Are you likely to get the job, or are you likely not to get the job? Are you someone they just threw in so they could hit their 3 candidate minimum? Or are you like the first place candidate who they think is probably going to get the job? Well, you can't just ask them because they're not going to tell you. They're not going to tell you that. They're not going to give that information. They're going to tell you what you want to hear. So I'm going to give you 3 different ways that you can actually get this information. And the first is the texting method. What you want to do is you want to text them. And you want to text them something that is a bit ambiguous, right? A bit nebulous, right? You're not saying, I need to know this information now, but rather it's something subtle. And it's a question like, hey, I have a few questions about this job and it's fit for me. Let me know when you have a few minutes, right? And just text the recruiter that. You should be on a texting relationship with the recruiter, ideally, if they are working with you to help you get a job, or they've reached out and they've submitted you to a client of theirs. So you want to do this, and you want to send it during working hours. Ideally, we're talking like 9 to 11 a.m., 1 to 4 p.m., right? And we want to see how fast they get back to you. And when they get back to you, what does it look like? Do they answer you within 5 to 10 minutes and go, hey, when you're free, give me a call. Happy to talk. Or is it one of those things where they don't text you back? Or it takes hours and hours. And they go, yeah, I could talk. What are your questions? Feel free to text me. The urgency in which they respond and the willingness to jump on a call with you says a lot about your priority. If a candidate texted me that, I would be very concerned they were thinking about pulling out of the process if they were my top candidate. So texting them this and then seeing how they respond, measuring the quickness in which they respond and the interest they have in hopping on the phone with you and answering your questions can tell you a lot about how they feel about you as a candidate. Now, this next technique is called the takeaway. And the takeaway is something recruiters actually do to candidates, but in this situation, we're going to reverse it, and you're going to do a takeaway to the recruiter. So what you do is you get them on the phone with you, and when you're on the phone with them, and maybe this is something you do after you text them, but you get them on the phone and you go, it seems like your client isn't that interested in me. Maybe I should pursue other opportunities. The way they respond is going to tell you everything. If they go, whoa, no, they are very interested in you. In fact, the other day they told me A, B, and C. I think that they are super interested in you. You don't need to go and apply for other roles. I think you've got a really good shot of getting this job, right? If they say that, that probably means that they're pretty interested in you. Now, it's important that they're convincing and they can lay out specific examples of why their client is interested in you. Conversely, if they go, well, if you want to apply to other roles, that's totally your choice. That means the client is not that interested in you. I've been in recruitment for 15 years. I would never say that second thing unless I knew that they were not interested in the candidate. So by saying that sentence, the way they respond is going to tell you so much about your candidacy with their client. Now, the most straightforward way to find out this information is to simply ask them this question. What makes me a better fit for this role than the other candidates from your client's perspective? It's a very powerful question because what you're asking them to do is tell you why the client likes you more than other candidates. And again, it all comes down to how believable this answer is. Are they able to articulate this in a convincing way, or does it leave something to be desired? That is how you can tell how interested they are in you as a candidate. And doing this is incredibly powerful. Another incredibly powerful thing is practicing the questions you're going to get in an interview. Every interview you go into, there's about 4 or 5 questions you can just about guarantee you're going to be asked. In fact, it's so important, I made this video about it. This video basically tells you 4 or 5 questions you're always going to get in an interview, and then I teach you from a recruiter's perspective exactly what to say to nail those interview questions. So I'm done here. I'll see you over there.